Greetings, Poe fans. Welcome to another edition of Poe Unplugged. I am Carmen Bolden.
And I am Jeanie Smith, and we are
The Potastic Two.
Come zoom with us into the Unbook Club dedicated to the works of Mr. Edgar Allan Poe.
Good evening, and welcome back to Poe Unplugged, where tonight we're going to be discussing what story, Jeanie? Or actually, it's not a story.
It's not a story.
I'm so used to saying that.
Yes, tonight is not a story. It is more of a parody, or, well, not really a parody, whatever. Anyway, so this Tuesday night, we're discussing Wednesday.
Yes.
On Netflix. Especially season one. Yes, we're discussing the Edgar Allan Poe Easter eggs or attachments or
connections,
influences.
Yeah, those kind of things.
Yes.
Those cool things that showed up during season one this time for the show. It was only 8 episodes before the first season, so but they make it out of a story as a story.
Yeah.
So the whole thing kind of connected.
Does anybody want to begin the discussion?
I'll start it off. Why not?
All right.
Why not? Well, the one thing that I, it's not so much Poe so much as the title of Wednesday in her name coming from the nursery rhyme, which Monday's Child. Wednesday, because Morticia does explain in the episodes about how that's how Wednesday got her name from. Wednesday is the child of woe, which there's 2 versions of that actual nursery rhyme. So that's the one she went with. But I thought it was kind of cool because when they did the titles for each episode, it's like every time they stuck the woe in there, it reminded me of when we do the puns for Poe.
Yes, our Poe titles. Yeah,
the Poe titles and stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, it's like, the Poe and the woe. But I did love, number one, the name of the academy, Nevermore. Nevermore, nevermore. And then the gate to the academy has the birds, the ravens flying across in the wrought iron gate. So it definitely gives you the Gothic vibe the moment it opens the gate. That kind of fit, and I didn't mean it to, but okay.
Yeah, it reminded me of a cemetery entrance.
Yeah. So it definitely had the Gothic feel from the get-go. I mean, I love the very first thing where she sets the piranhas on the swimming team in the other high school. So he's like, I told my friend Julie, and I think I even told Carmen this. I said, after I watched the first season, I said, I found my spirit child. Because it's like, that would be me in school if I was never that bad. I didn't use piranhas, but I lived in the mountains. We didn't have piranhas that I could toss into a swimming pool. I'm just saying. But it was just, the beginning of it was very Poe-esque because it had that goth from the get-go. So, and one of the things is I was watching it both for the alignment to Poe, but also just to see the influence of Poe. So that was, and the one thing I did like is they just didn't concentrate on Poe, but they used quite a bit of other authors and instances of goth that kind of helped. So for anyone, I don't know if anyone has not seen Wednesday yet, but now once I saw season 1, I couldn't stop, and I went ahead and did season 2. But I told Carmen, I said, I can't not, and I'm glad there's going to be a season 3. And this is why I put off watching season 1 for so long, it's because I knew I would like it. And then I usually have this aversion because every time I start liking something, they'll screw it up on season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll get mad. And then so that's one of the reasons I didn't want to watch it, was like I was like, they're going to screw it up and I'm going to get mad. But they didn't. So
Yeah.
that was good. Now they did some things I wasn't quite sure about, but so if we're talking just about the Poe aspects, there was one thing that I saw when I was looking at other people's interpretations on the internet to try to see what they might say. Someone actually made the comment that the statue of Poe and so many Poe instances was because Poe was an alumni of Nevermore Academy. And I'm going, no, it wasn't. He was not, because the Academy was not created until 1891.
Right.
I'm like, unless he was the walking ghost of, unless they wanted to make him to be some kind of supernatural character. No, he was not an alumni. So that was one instance where I was like, yeah, you don't know
They
your Poe.
they twisted it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm trying to go in order, but I don't want to.
Oh, I don't think I think it's okay if we skip around.
Well, that's good because I'm about skipping.
Yeah.
Now I did enjoy the statue of Poe and how they had to use the password, and then she had to unravel the clue to figure out, and that's where they included the Adams family wonderful snap too. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was
Oh,
like, oh, that was a great way of combining it. Um, but like Carmen and I were discussing, the book that Poe was holding, that she was getting the clues out of, they weren't actual poems or weren't works of Edgar Allan Poe's in the book that he was holding.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, well, I can see they did that on the aspect of he was just being used as a statue. It wasn't so much that they were using his work to
Mhm.
decipher. So, somebody else talk.
Yeah. Thoughts
'Cause
from you guys. Good or oh, Holly, you're muted.
or yeah, because I'm about to jump down the rabbit hole and I don't want to.
Okay, so Jeannie, don't hate me. My opinion might be a little unpopular, but let me explain why. I thought it was good. If I had to give it like a ABC kind of thing, I'd give it a B. And here, I was like, so here's my thing overall. So it's the Addams family, right? I think maybe it was missing. It had funny parts, but it was missing. It was missing something for me that I think some of the other films caught better. Like some of the like humor didn't hit for me, and I feel like let me say this: I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. He's actually one of my celebrity crushes. I love him. I think everything, but just about everything he's done has been gold. But even it felt like it just never really reached the top there, because there's other shows that are comparable that are made for that the same age group. Because obviously it's made for like the teenager age group, like Stranger Things or whatnot. That's
Mhm.
just the writing's just better. So I feel like there was issues with the writing, and I think what kept me watching it were the Poe little Easter eggs, which were fun for me to kind of like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. And I love the fact that Tim Burton paid like homage to Poe. But as far as like that taking Adam's family, something was just, I don't know, like Catherine Zeta-Jones is awesome, but she has to, in my opinion, is probably the worst Morticia in my opinion. She just didn't. I mean, yeah, she's a beautiful woman. She's great, but she just doesn't have that natural, for me, gothic appeal. Um, the Jenna Ortega, like I actually liked her in the Beetlejuice remake, which I didn't think I would like her, but I did. Do I like her on Wednesday? She's a good Wednesday. Is she, she as good as Christina Ricci? Probably not for me. But that could be because I grew up in that time period. But yeah, overall, I felt like I needed more from the plot, And the Poe Easter eggs were probably for me the best part of it. So that kept me going. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't feel. It didn't have the full Adams Family vibe. I don't know if any of that didn't land for anybody else. But overall, was the show good? Yeah, it was good. Well, I watched season 2. I don't know. I'm pretty busy, but yeah. Am I mad at Tim Burton slightly? Yeah, if I would have been his girlfriend, I would have helped him make that a little bit better. But it is what it is.
Well, what you said about it being destined for a teen drama, it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean, of
very
course.
much written for teen angst,
Yeah,
it is very much that age group type of thing.
yeah. I'm not
And
the
I
target.
guess
I mean, I'm
being,
not the target audience, and I get that. I just feel like there's been
yeah,
other shows where I'm not the target audience, and I'm like a silly little teenager, like giggling and laughing, and it really hooked me. And this just
yeah,
wasn't one of them. And I'm not
yeah,
even, and it should have, right? Because it has the Adams Family, and I love the Adams Family. It's Tim Burton. I love Tim Burton, and it's Poe, and I love Poe. But yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not really sure why it didn't fully connect with me. But I mean, I think it's a solid B for me overall.
Okay.
well, the thing of it is it's not, even though they use Wednesday, I don't think it was designed as Adam's Family. That was the one thing that I got from it, is that they're using the characters, but it's not an Adam's Family
Yeah,
type
the focus
of
has
show.
shifted. Yeah,
Yeah. And of course, I was just watching it basically to get the Poe references for this. And
yeah.
like I said, it's not, um, okay, I have to say this, and she's never going to listen to this, so I don't have to worry about it. My friend Julie, who you hear me talking about quite a bit, she kind of zones out when we start talking Poe, because she's a science person. She's not much of literature. She loves to read, but she's not like an in-depth reader type person. So anyway, so when I was discussing watching Wednesday, the one thing I was telling her is that what hit me was Wednesday's character when she meets Enid. That is me and Julie. Julie is Enid's character, and I am Wednesday because we are so exact opposites to each other.
Day and night.
It is very
Exactly.
true.
And Julie just has this Enid personality, and I told her, and she goes, "Oh my God, I did not realize that until you said it." And then I was telling her about some of the Poe things, and she goes, "Huh?" She goes, "I never noticed any of that." I was like, "What?" I said,
Even
"You
you know what
didn't?"
though? That's a good
Yeah.
point. I don't think, unless literally the Poe statue. I mean, I think those Easter eggs were really in there for Poe fans because I don't think a common, just a person watching would actually
No,
realize that. Which was
no, she
cool because
didn't.
people are gonna miss that. Especially at least like when she talked about Mary Shelley, she's like, "Oh, I wanted to write my book and publish before Mary Shelley at 18." That was awesome. So I thought that was fun. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did incorporate quite a few other authors, and William Faulkner was brought up quite a bit.
Hmm.
So that was good. And then I love the character, she's writing a novel of a mystery novel. So I think that was an homage to like
Yeah. With the teen
Poe, and
detective.
especially
Yeah.
detective. And the
Hmm.
detective's name and the story was a female, and her name was Viper, which I thought
Yeah.
was great. But one of the things, and this is like when I was talking to Julie, I said, the race, the river race, the Raven, the Poe Cup race. I mean, it was literally
Yeah.
a Poe Cup. And she goes, "Oh, I didn't pay any attention to that." And I'm like, "Of course not." But I'm like, the canoes, they were named after four of his most, popular shows. There was
Hmm.
the Gold Bug, there was the Cask of Amontillado, the Black Cat, and then,
The
hold
gold
on. The gold bug. I said gold bug. The
cask.
gold bug, the cask, the black cat, and telltale heart.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I was
Yes.
like, what's the other one? But yeah, and so that was great. Because I was like, oh, that's awesome. Because I love their costumes too. the jesters, they were dressed up as black cats, the ones that were dressed in the gold for the gold bug. Uh, so, yeah, I think you're right, Holly. They were so subtle in what they did with these that only someone who kind of had an inkling about Poe or even a liking of Poe would find these things and realize what they were. Just like Nightshade. The name of the secret society were the Nightshades. Well, I didn't realize this until I started looking at it because I'm like, I know the Deadly Nightshade is, the belladonna and everything, but there is a family of nightshades, the black nightshades, that are called Morella.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't know
interesting.
that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is neat. Yeah.
So I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. So they had paid homage to Morella with using the name of the nightshade. Uh,
Well,
so then,
in the town of Jericho, we did a little dig to see if Jericho was used in a Poe story. He used Jerusalem, but not Jericho. But if you look, when they first panned the town, there's several like clock faces in the building, and it reminded me of the Devil in the Belfry, which I thought was really cool.
yeah, it had a lot of subtleties
Hmm.
in there.
Yeah, hopefully, people are so into like the hidden Easter eggs now, and like there's like forums and stuff. So I mean, I do hope that people who may have not really been into Poe and they really like the show Wednesday, and I think was really popular when it came out and still is. I mean, hopefully that would help people get more into like
Yeah.
why, because obviously he's an influence on Tim Burton. I mean, his whole macabre aesthetic. I mean, everything, the way he dresses, the women he's dated. I mean, his whole life
Yeah.
is like a girl in Poe story. So.
Oh yeah. One very subtle, if you weren't like paying attention, with when the Nevermore Academy kids went into Pilgrim World, the kind of nasty pilgrim lady says, you're going to be working in the beating heart of Pilgrim World. And I was like, oh, that was a very nice way to just just nicely line that in there.
Yeah, the telltale beating heart.
Yeah, and the sheriff's secretary's name was Bernice.
Hmm.
I don't know if y'all caught that.
Yeah, I actually pointed
Not
that out to
Berenice.
Carmen.
Not, yeah. And and from what I've talked with like people at the Poe Museum, it a lot of people have different interpretations of that name. And so trying to think when I went to the Edgar Allan Poe puppet show in Atlanta, they did not say Berenice, and I think it was Berenice. Berenice. So yeah. So they may be interpreting it as Bernice rather than Berenice, but the Poe Museum stands on it's Berenice. Just it
Well,
has
it
the way
Well,
the
also comes
number.
down.
and I remember when we discussed it here on Poe
Mhm.
Unplugged, you were calling
Yeah.
it Berenice. So I consider that to be authoritative.
Yes. I
Well, and that was
agree.
It's
like
way
when I
easier
said,
to say Berenice, so I'm sticking with
yeah, in East
it.
Tennessee, we call it Burnus, you know.
Mhm.
So, yeah, because that's how my uncle, his sister's name was spelled Berenice, but they called her Burnus. So it's also a dialect issue. And
Yeah.
since this is stationed, the whole premise is stationed in Burlington, around Burlington and Jericho, Vermont.
Hmm.
So it could also be a dialect. They're bringing in the dialect part of it.
That's true.
So, but I also the Craig Crackstone dude, he um he was brought in there because the Salem witch trials and all that kind of stuff. But also Jericho, and like I was telling Carmen, Jericho also could be paying homage because of the Pilgrim world.
Yeah.
It's talking about the Puritans, the city on the hill, because that's what they called when they first came to the Massachusetts Bay Colony. They created the city on the hill, which was the epitome of what the perfect Puritan town would be. And the Pilgrims got there first, but then the Puritans came and they merged because they were the same. Pilgrims and Puritans were the same religion, but they Puritans were just more strict. They were more cultish kind of thing. So the city on the hill and the Pilgrim world, that kind of, I was like, well, they're paying homage to the Puritanism. And then Crackstone was talking about they mished like the witch hunters and some of the judges from the Salem witch trials in there. So they got the Boston part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I did like, even though, yes, it was not built for a truly adult audience, and it was not like Holly, it was not an Addams Family centered, in my opinion. It was more just taking the representation of what the Addams Family, being a gothic, being dark, being weird,
Mm-hmm.
and putting it into this. So I did enjoy using it as a scavenger hunt. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
To me, I watched it as more of a scavenger hunt than I did for the actual storyline, I guess, because that was one of the things I was telling Carmen is I did not like the representation of the Hyde. Because I'm like, the Hyde, the story of Jekyll and Hyde is about him using a medicinal way of creating the alternate person, from the Jekyll to the Hyde. But in this instance, they're talking about it being like a genetic mutation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it just bothered me.
So this might be the one Poe Unplugged where I've like wholeheartedly agreed with Holly, because I appreciate all that you've just said, but this did not strike me. I mean, not even speaking as a Poe fan, that this struck me as pretty derivative and pretty lazy as a series. The Wednesday character strikes me as pretty one dimensional. It's like it's a shtick. But the Poe references, which I assume is why we're here, um, almost seem like caricatures of Poe, because Poe, as we all know, was very complex, and he did humor. He did the goth stuff, but he did humor and he did mystery and he did um, uh, uh, science and science fiction, and so he was a very complex character. And this almost just kind of distills it down to this pretty, I think, again, a one-dimensional kind of aspect, I would say. And the Wednesday character, even though she undergoes a transformation, they really lean on the kind of one-liners, etc. I guess I'm just speaking as an old man that this did not completely ring my bell. And again, I want to separate the speaking as a Poe Unplugged participant versus just somebody who's like enjoying the show. Tim Burton, who I normally really like, it just felt like he was phoning this in. That's just me.
Yeah. Well, one thing kind of, Steve, that kind of goes along with what you were saying about how they treated Poe. So I had seen this actually not when it first came out. I waited probably about 9 months to a year when I watched it the first time. So this time I just watched it as looking for the Poe elements. And there's not as many as I thought I remembered the first time I watched it. But the one thing there is one Poe quote in the whole show, and it's in episode 2, and she says, "Believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see." And the quote is actually the more popularized quote that is misquoted, and it came from the system of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather. And the real quote is, "Believe nothing you hear and only one half that you see." And so I was like, they didn't get the quote right. They kind of, went with the popular version, which is misquoted. And then right after she says that, she says, "No wonder he became a drug-addled madman." And of course, that made me mad because they're taking Griswold's words rather than who Poe really was. So the writers didn't do the homework that they should have done.
Mhm.
That was like, okay,
Co-
hold on a
complete.
second.
I completely agree that it really felt like it was some young screenplay writers who did a quick AI or Google search about Poe and just
Mhm.
kind of replicated the
What they
kind of
liked.
common
Yeah.
misperceptions of Poe.
hmm I mean, some of the other Easter eggs I enjoyed. I like the show for just like fun entertainment. But when I really looked at it through looking for the Poe Easter eggs, I was like, I thought there was more than this the first time I watched it. And I realized I don't think I paid as much attention as I thought I did in the first watching of it. And at first, like Jeff watched it with me, and he and I both, this was the first time, we both kind of looked at each other, and it was like you said, one-liners, and it was like they were trying really, really hard to make her be this dark, dark, dark individual, which when you really look at the original series, she was dark as a child, but she was actually not that dark.
She was more strange. I think she was more kind of like, I don't want to say strange, but yeah, she had like an edginess to her. But yeah, it's almost like
Kooky, yeah,
she
like
in
the
this one
song
she's like
says.
brooding, like she's like angry and hates everyone and
Yeah,
everyone. Yeah, like just like this chip on her shoulder, and it kind of took away like some of the. Yeah, I mean, of course, you have the opposite, like her best friend, like the fun-loving werewolf, and I guess they were trying to play off of that. But that's like, I'm just so sick of the trope of the nasty teenager. And I get
yeah,
Wednesday's supposed to be dark and gloomy, like I get it, guys, because I'm dark and gloomy myself. But at some point, it does get to be like, it's like, get over yourself. I
yeah,
mean, I'm honestly, as a personal thing, I'm so sick of the moody teenager trope. I'm so over it. Like,
yeah.
please try something new. But I get it. She's Wednesday, and I'm going on a rant here. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and I think they were playing off of the way Christina Ricci did it because she was older. She was an older version of Wednesday in the movies. And I thoroughly enjoyed those movies that they did. The two,
Because they were quirky. Like they
yeah,
were. It's like they were. It was like they had darkness, but there was a lot of funny, silly humor because everything.
yeah,
Even though they were like these, like like, and I think the same thing with Gomez in this one. Like it's just the humor didn't come off 100% like funny. But with like the ones in
yeah,
the '90s, like those movies actually feel more Tim Burton than this does, oddly enough for me, even though I know Tim Burton didn't do those. Like, but yeah, like all
yeah,
like that weird, like that funny, goofy, kind of like dark humor, which we could say could be like the system of Dr. Tar and Feather,
yeah,
the Don't Bet the Devil Your Head, like that dark humor. This didn't have it, and I think if they couldn't, if they would have tweaked things just a little bit or had a better under, if that's what they were going for, I mean, I feel like that could have landed. Or some of the characters, like Steve was saying, it feels forced or phoned in. And I felt that way with like with Catherine Zeta-Jones' acting. It was like so over the top and phony. I was
yeah.
thinking like when she first showed up, like even her whole look, I was like, is she wearing a Halloween costume? Like I just felt like, yeah, like she was my least. She's by far my least favorite Morticia. She's not even in the standings.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on that. Carolyn Jones she's the OG. She's amazing. And then, why is her name escaping my brain?
Am I saying it's not
Angelica
Angela?
Houston.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Dr. Jeff.
Angelica,
Yes.
yeah.
Angelica Houston did an amazing job
Yeah,
as
she's
well.
kind because I grew up with that. Like that was my time period when I was a kid. So I always think of her, because she was just, because she was like, she said very few things. And everything she said had so much meaning in it without her really doing a lot of movement. Like she had such a powerful character. Where I feel this one, like she was just goofy. Like I feel like the extreme. She was goofy. Wednesday was over brooding. Like everybody was kind of like this extreme version of what we think of those characters to be. But I get it, like you want to put your own spin on those characters for you, but it kind of feels like kind of like Steve said, it feels like Tim Burton put his name on it. But I'm really curious how much control or how much he actually partook in the storyboarding and everything.
I read that he only directed half of the episodes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like one of his passion projects then, because I said it
No.
doesn't feel, if you actually said to me, I wouldn't have picked that out as a Tim Burton project. It just
Yeah.
didn't feel Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. I feel like they were trying to capitalize on the success of shows like Stranger Things and the older, like the Umbrella Academy, with these weird kind of dark vibes, and I don't know, it just didn't hold up to either of their shows.
Yeah. One other kind of I wrote down, like, as I watched it, I basically opened up a keep note on my phone, and I would just put little notes in there so I wouldn't forget things. And one of the things that I thought of, was like the yin and yang of Wednesday and Enid. And I was like, you can't tie this to William Wilson, because William Wilson, they're more alike than they are. I mean, it's like the same person. So it's,
Yeah, yeah,
there's not a doppelganger, it's total opposites. And there's nothing that Poe really did with that type of trope,
yeah. Yeah, what they call it,
basically.
Grumpy Sunshine, but I think that's more of a romantic novel. The Grumpy
Oh,
versus
yeah.
Sunshine character. That's what I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking. Like they're so opposite, but I liked her character, the
Oh,
werewolf chick,
yeah.
whatever her name was. But
Yeah.
like I really I think actually she ended up being my favorite character in it while I watched it. Well, I liked the boyfriend. He was my favorite actually.
What
The
time?
artisty guy, because I'm sorry, I
Oh,
watched it like many years. I watched this when it came out, so I don't really remember that much of it. But
okay. Yeah.
that's a problem. Like I have a decent memory, and not too much of the show sticking with me. So
Okay.
that also
That
helps me
says,
know.
yeah, that says some
Yeah,
things.
I don't ever like sit there and think about the show, and like like Michael Flanagan's. I know we're flipping here, but like he did a lot of stuff with Poe, and I feel like maybe, I mean, yeah, who did it better? Tim Burton, Mike Flanagan. Yeah, we're gonna have to tip the scales and give that one to Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
At least for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm being super aggressive with my opinion.
That's all right. That's what we want to hear. Other thoughts, guys? Other thoughts?
I don't have Netflix, so I have not seen the show, but
Oh,
my
okay.
Oh, sorry,
my
Dr. Jeff.
my great niece Blakely, who is 12, almost 13,
Mm-hmm.
Loves
loves
it.
the show,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And my sister, who is Blakely's grandmother, has watched some of it with her.
Okay.
But the creators are the two guys who 20 years ago wrote Smallville and wrote the movie
Oh,
Spider-Man 2
okay. I
uh,
did
Mhm.
not know
with
that.
Dr. Octopus, one of the best superhero movies.
Yeah,
So they
that
were
one is
involved,
good.
as well as um, I guess they were like the creators and head writers, and then other people actually wrote the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good information as well.
Yeah, like I don't think the writing was like horrible. I just felt like it could have been, I don't know, like it wasn't bad. It's just, I mean, I just feel like there was just something that just didn't connect.
Yeah.
You did not just go there, Micah. Really?
Like I said, I was very disappointed there weren't some words with the mummy references.
I hope they're coming in season 3 for Jeanie, because you know she'll be watching it.
Oh, heck no, heck no. I
Love
did
that.
tell Carmen the one interesting thing about the Netflix show is it's like they've taken some leads from the British shows that where they're not afraid to get rid of characters because they are,
Because they cut my
even though,
character. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because that's the one thing I love about most of the British shows. It doesn't matter how long they're on, they don't have a single thing with taking out new characters, killing off people, bringing in new people. It's like it's a revolving door, which, and I hate to say it, it's not so bad sometimes. But one of the things with American television is they will put all their eggs in a basket on one character and don't give a crap about the story.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
I think a
just
big part of well, you know what it is? A big part of it is the culture of Che. So Netflix will not renew a show until they get
Mhm.
all the ratings in. So by the time they
That's
renew
true.
it, almost a year has passed, and then a lot of those actors are either in limbo if they sign into other projects. They can't. So I know a couple of shows have died that way because they're like, we can't just keep
Yeah.
waiting. So that's why it's why if you notice now, it's like I mean, it's like over a year to 2 years in between each season. I
Yeah.
mean, especially in shows like Wednesday, like these kids are like they showed up as teenagers. They're like the 30s by the time the show ends. It's like crazy. But
Yeah.
I think I think
That's
it's part of
very
that culture of
true.
today. Because I know like some actor and actresses they're like they go on to other things, like they
Mhm.
can't wait around forever. Which is I get why Netflix does that, but it's so annoying because it's like if you like a show, you want it like now. I'm sure
Now.
the actors and
Mhm.
actresses feel the same way.
Oh, I would totally think so. One nod that I really liked, because I did like Principal Weem's character. I think she played it very well. I always forget her name. She was in Game of Thrones. But when her at the beginning, especially, but even throughout the whole series, um, the way they dressed her in that green suit, the way her hair was styled, especially when she was sitting at the desk when Wednesday came in for the first time. The ravens are all around her desk. It was so Tippi Hedren as Melanie Daniels in The Birds.
And the
So
bird.
Hitchcock nod, and I absolutely love that. That was one of my favorite parts, actually.
well, and
And
then also making the psychics, having the psychic connection kind of thing is, one being a dove and the other being a raven, and the raven being more of the dark side. And I'm like,
mhm,
well, that's good in itself, but the raven is always seen as the harbinger of death kind of thing with the death
mhm,
message. But truly in some major cultures, the raven isn't that way. It's not a sign of death. Sometimes it's a sign of hope and of
Transformation in the
rebirth.
Vikings.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
Vikings.
So yeah, so I mean, there was there was some good things, but also some bad things. But like I said, I didn't watch it for the actual, I guess, show. I watched it because we were looking for Poe connection. So I
Yeah.
treated it like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Now, is it something that I was disappointed? I went ahead and watched season two. I'll just tell you that. But and I told Carmen this, like one thing is I was always afraid of is that they always screw up everything once I like something. So and they have a tendency, but they also have a tendency to beat a dead horse. That's one thing that I just can't stand. Is like they get tied up in a storyline and they just beat it to death. It's like let it die. You got something new that you can write. And even with Poe, leave the beginning open, leave the ending open. You don't have to answer every single question. It's
Yeah, but I
okay to
think
let people's
that goes
imagination.
back to that thing, and they don't know if they're going to get renewed at the end of the season, and they're trying to give fans closure because they don't know. It's not like shows back when like when we were kids, like this is going to be the last season. So few shows get that luxury of knowing and giving fans that full
Yeah.
closure. So I mean, it stink. I completely understand. It's the same thing when you're reading a book. And you like if you know it's a series, give me something to look forward to in book two. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it goes just back to the culture of today. Like everyone's so quick to like cancel everything. So
Yeah, that's true.
I'm 100% with you, Jeannie. Like, yeah, I mean, it's nice to look forward to something because if all the questions are answered, so why are we tuning in? For
Yeah.
the next episode,
Um,
season, whatnot.
Micah said Holly should write the sequel, The Eye of Thursday.
Yeah, right. Oh dear.
And then Steve said, and Tippi Hedren is still alive and well. I know, it's amazing.
96 years old and going strong.
Yes.
Well, and I
Wow.
guess one of the things, Holly, is that Netflix may be that way, but I've had plenty of shows that I've liked over the years, especially when I was younger, that they didn't give a crap whether they completed it or not, and it got canceled.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'm like, I don't care if you complete the whole story, but I mean, I do care if you don't complete the whole story. That pisses me off when they leave you hanging. But at the same time, it's like don't just depend on whether it's going to get renewed or not. If you're going to tell a story, tell a freaking story and
Mm-hmm.
make it interesting. And if you want to end it, then end it. And then that way, if it gets renewed, start a different story.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. But just, you know, whatever. But yeah, it could very well just be the teenagers of the day.
Oh,
Since
yeah.
I'm not in the classroom anymore, I don't have to deal with those hormones.
Yeah. The only
That's-
other like slight Poe connection that you could kind of connect was just her Wednesday's want of being alone, and but yet the irony of it is she never was, and she thrived on being with the other characters who were helping her in the journey of figuring out the all the things that were happening with Poe's poem alone. And I don't
Well,
know that that was a intentional that they were doing it as an homage to Poe, but you could pull a little bit out. Steve, what were you going to say?
oh, I agree with you. I guess the two thoughts I have are number one, the Poe part felt more incidental, even though it's never more Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, let me take it back. There's a tension between if this is supposed to be kind of a gothic Poe kind of thing, or whether it's supposed to be an Adams family, like, per Holly, whether it's supposed to be a Adams family update. Um, and and as Poe, I think it fails for reasons I've already mentioned. There's some Easter eggs, as Jeannie was saying, but they get some stuff wrong, and it's just really not, I think, satisfying for somebody who knows Poe.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the Adams family, I think what made the Adams family so endearing was it was a family. It was about this group of people who supported one another and loved one another. And despite the fact, they're kind of in this world, this totally outliers in this world, but they supported one another. And this one is, sure things with Wednesday, but the family connections are just missing. They're not all kind of teaming up together
Yeah,
the
it's
way it was in the series.
dysfunctional. Yeah.
So I think I just say that on either the Poe or the Adams Family grounds, this really isn't genuine and doesn't really seem to push forward either one of those
Yeah.
genres.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Any more thoughts? Because we're wrapping up to our time.
Yeah, I did like the aspects of the Tim Burton because I'm a Tim Burton person.
Mm,
Probably not as Holly level Tim Burton, but I do like his things that he's done over the years. He's one of my go-tos. But at the same time, it's definitely all about the teenage angst, and it's not an Adams family tradition. It is more of concentration of bringing a character and making the character of Wednesday more important than the family as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to the way they wanted to premise this new advanced into the future type from the original Adams family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's things about it that were very disconnected for Adams family. Like you said, the whole Morticia and Gomez was not. I mean, each one of the individual actors I love, in
Yeah,
other things,
exactly. Yeah.
but there was just no chemistry, in my opinion. There
Yeah.
wasn't the Adams family chemistry on any of them. Individually, it's like you had individual characters playing individual parts very well, but the whole story characters together, it was like having a bunch of checkers on a chessboard with like Legos characters that didn't really fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Gomez from the 90s. I'm sorry, what's the actor who plays him?
Raul Julia.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
He
him.
is okay. So I find him highly attractive, but I mean,
Yes.
I know the cartoon version the Addams Family is based off of looks more like what Tim Burton gave us, but I don't know. But he was so magnetic as Gomez, like you were
Yes.
drawn to him. Even as a little girl, I was like, wow, Gomez is so cool in this over the top way. And I feel like this other guy was trying to be like overly top, like romantic in the new version of this, and it's just like again, it was just like yeah, like Jeanie said, the chemistry or something was like off. Like it was just even in the younger version of him too. In that, like they showed a lot of him the younger version. That was off. Like I don't know.
I totally agree. And John Aston, who played the original Gomez,
Yes.
he's
Yes.
still alive as well, and I think he's
Mhm.
reaching 99.
Oh,
Close.
yes.
Yeah,
See, Rob,
he's been at Poe Fest a couple of times. I mean, I
yes.
keep hoping he's going to be there when we're there.
I know. He's played Poe. He's played
Yeah, he
Poe.
has.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Holly makes a good point that there's a tension. I mean, if you want to go back to the original source material, you go back to Charles Adams,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
and in some ways, perhaps Tim Burton has mined Charles Adams a little more faithfully than the
Mhm.
1960s series. But the 1960s series, I feel, as a number of you have said, hit the jackpot with the family dynamic. I mean, really,
Mhm.
really leaning into family as Adam's family, and that's just made it so. I mean, it was going up against the Munsters at the time. There were these kind of
Yes.
Oh, yes.
families of the outcast on network television, and they were all just kind of being otherworldly versions of a sitcom. And there was something just so endearing about, I think, the way the Mann's family did. It was Gomez, Morticia, it was the kids, it was Uncle Fester, and and I think Tim Burton, as much as I appreciate his work, missed that element and just leaned into the
Mhm.
goth element, which just isn't enough to sustain the Addams family.
Yeah.
No.
And I guess the other point is it's not enough to sustain Poe, because Poe was so much more than goth.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and the whole premise about the Nevermore Academy is they're outcasts. So I think in some aspect that was kind of what they were throwing Poe in there for. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things, and he was definitely an outcast in the day, but to some extent, he wasn't.
Yeah, but if everybody's an outcast, is anyone really an outcast? You know what I mean? Versus like what
Yeah.
Steve was
Yeah.
saying about like they were like a quirky, weird family, and everybody else seemed to be the quote unquote normal. But yeah, Nevermore is like an academy for like all different sorts of like supernatural type strange people. But so it does take away, from the fact that Wednesday is from the strange family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's no longer special, right? She's just like
Mhm.
everybody else, but she just has her own little thing. Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
has issues. Yeah.
Yeah. That is
And I
that's a
think that's where it did it wrong so much with that is they took away Wednesday's uniqueness
Yeah, like if
and
they
they
would have
took
played the
away.
Harry Potter thing where like she was the different one in like you know what I mean? If they
Uh-huh.
would have did something like that where she was at a normal school and maybe her best friend had like a secret, she was also a werewolf that comes out in later seasons, versus kind of like playing up on the supernatural vibe, which makes
Mhm.
it a little bit more playful, which I think adds to the fact that maybe it was set for like a younger audience per se.
yeah.
But I mean, but like I said, in today's day and age, like I feel like even things made for children, are made for adults as well. Yeah.
I think so because like the innuendos that come out, this one doesn't have as many as like the two movies did. But yeah, the adult humor it can be, being enjoyed by adults, whereas the kids are enjoying the other aspects of the kids from the family in it.
Yeah, yeah. Something for the whole family to enjoy. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I mean, I think this could, and I think this is that. I do feel like adults will watch it and enjoy it. Will it be maybe like an adult favorite show? Probably not, but I think that they could watch it with their kids and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I wanted to share something with y'all because I think you'll get a kick out of this. So a few years ago, I made a Morticia dress, and Jeff and I dressed up as Gomez and Morticia, and we went to one of our historical cemeteries and did a picture.
Yeah, I've seen that. I love that.
And we had so much fun doing that. I've worn it more than once, and Jeff has worn his costume as well. And he had his barber like do the mustache shaved for him, and yeah. And so I just wanted to share that because it was just a
Awesome.
fun memory because we really love the Addams family. Anyway, just
I
had to
I
show you
was
that.
Morticia 1 year too when I was really
Oh
little. I don't think there's
yeah.
any pictures, but yeah, I did the Morticia and I made my mom make the dress pinching on my legs so I could barely walk. So I was like going
Oh, I
like this.
love it.
Because I'm like, see how I am. I'm very extreme. I was like, no, mom, it has to be tight on my ankles. Like I want the whole dress, the whole look.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. If I come across a picture, I'll have to share
Oh yeah, you need to. You need to.
it.
Well, I guess next month, I pulled up my calendar. On June 30th, we will be reading and discussing The Imp of the Perverse, which is one that we've not read on here.
Okay,
And
cool.
then July 28th will be Morella. We haven't done
I
that
love
one
Morella.
either. Yeah, it's a good one. So with that, and July ends season 5, and so August will start season 6.
Awesome.
And Micah says the closing night of Last Case of Dr. Watson. If you want to be a cool kid like Holly or Dave and have anything nice to say about it that we can use for promotion, let me know. Thanks. And happy Dracula Day. That's right. It is Dracula Day to one and
Yeah.
all. And he shared the YouTube link for the play. So if you want to grab that. And then Steve says Jeff looks like John Waters. Okay. Very cool. All right. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And Holly, we're very sorry for your loss.
Thank
Yes.
you. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. We love Mike very much. He
Thank
was
you.
a great addition.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So, but yes, on that note, wait a minute. No, I was going to say we're on to Wednesday, but okay.
Yeah, tomorrow is Wednesday.
It is. Yes.
Okay. On the morrow of Wednesday. So,
Yes. We are
oh,
out.
Out.
Out.